Hi guys, my running kid here, coming to you again. Once again, guys, like I said, I apologize for the lateness, but better late than never. But yes, uh, as you can see, the shirt, yeah. Um, Bro and I saw Cap Winter Soldier, and I'm gonna get this right out there. I will agree 100% with all you guys that have been saying it. Uh, Best Marvel Cinematic movie ever. Um, Yes, indeed. I will go out and say that straight up. Will I say it was better than Avengers? Yeah, I will. I will say that. Um, Saw it last night, uh, and I must say to the Russo brothers, Anthony and Joey, yeah, Joe, yeah. Uh, you guys took one of the most famous story arcs of Captain America and you brought it to life in such a way that as a fan, it was magic, pretty much. Um, the character development I loved between not just Steve and Sam, but Steve and Natasha um, was really very much enlightened for me. I was like, okay, because in the comic wise, Steve and Natasha do have a pretty close relationship. They're not like really close, but they're close enough that they trust each other. They know their colleagues. They could back each other up, and we saw that in this movie. Um, but this really played off more like a spy novel, thriller, suspense thriller with added superhero genre into it, and that was good. And that was the good way to go about it. Chris Evans, guys, is Steve Rogers. There's no question about it. Um, he is Steve Rogers, and it's going to be sad to see him leave this role because, his contract is up in. He has 3 more movies left for his contract, and he will have fulfilled his contract with Marvel. And that's a good thing too, because I've always felt, you know, you always want to fulfill your contract. You always want to finish the rest of whatever you're signed for, and it's good to see that. Hopefully, he'll be able to finish that. Um, Gotta praise Anthony Mackie for Sam. Um, very much was love his character, the way they changed his character a little bit from the comic wise, having his unit, or kind of be called Falcon instead of him getting the name, which was really cool. The wings looked beautiful. Him flying in the air was very beautiful. Um, but all along, guys, for me as a fan of the Falcon, all I'm wishing for was seeing him in the red and white and Red Wing flying with him. And I'm like, yeah, oh man, that would be so cool if Red Wing was flying with him, or he can communicate with birds and things like that. I always thought that'd be cool. Um, Miss Scarlett Johansson continues to shine as Black Widow now, and in this movie now we get to see what her age is like. When she was, how long she's been the Black Widow, and they said it in the movie. She was born in 1984, so she's just in her 30s. So it's like, it would have been really cool if they had kept her real age. Like, she's almost nearly as old as Steve, but not so. But that's just me being nitpicking at certain things, but not really too much to nitpick at. Um, the fight choreography in this movie was fantastic. Uh, definitely, bar none, up from the prequel and Cap's fighting ability in Avengers. Um, very much the fight scene with Steve and Badrock the Leaper, George St. Pierre, very much what he was given. he shined. He pretty much came off as Badrock, the leaper. I was like, yeah. Um, he didn't speak any English. He just spoke French, and I'm like, okay, I can accept that. And Steve spoke French back to him, so it was cool, you know. And I believe one of the scenes was basically, you know, Badrock. I guess that's what he was saying because my French is really bad. Um, I haven't spoke French since high school, but basically, I believe Badrock was saying like, okay, how good are you without the shield? And so Steve was like, okay, and he put the shield back, detached it back on him, and fought Badrock hand to hand, and I was like, that was great. Fight scenes between him and Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan as coming back as Bucky, great. You can see he got in good shape for the role. I loved how the arm looked. It felt like it was a part of him, but it felt very mechanical in a sense. Like you heard like the gears move, like when he would grab stuff and things like that. You know, because some of the things that you can only like picture what the arm would probably would sound like, especially in the comics. You're like, okay, he's got this metal arm, so how does that sound or something like that? So they put that in there. I thought that was really cool, you know, and how they did Bucky in this in terms of you know his origins, how he I can accept. I had a feeling that I mean this movie has been out for a while, but still I'm not going to spoil it too much. But having having a sense that Armin Zola was behind it, I was cool with. I was like, okay, I can accept that. Instead of just being the Russians behind it, and they kept the aspect of you know him going back in the deep freeze after a mission, coming back out. I was like, cool. Nick, you know, Sam Jackson as Nick was fun. The car chase scene was great. Um, and you know, everybody did their part in this movie. You know, Emily Van Champ, I believe that's her name, who played Sharon Carter, was good, but I could have expected a little bit more from Sharon. You know, this is Sharon Carter we're talking about, and you know, she's more than just the pretty blonde uh, Shield agent that is also Steve Rogers' lover. But in this, she wasn't really, but she was to protect Steve. Like she lived right next door to him and things like that. Uh, and Frank Grillo, who played Crossbones, um, he was good, but I'm hoping he comes back because I would love to see him uh, in the cross as Crossbones, you know, with the mask and things like that, or some version of the mask, you know, something like that. But Hydra, Hail Hydra, yeah, I thought that was a big twist in the movie to have Hydra have been a like a sleep had sleeper agents in Shield all along since the beginning, and having Hydra be the uh, the cause of certain people's deaths because they basically said it like Hydra caused the death of Anthony Stark, you know, Tony Stark's father and things like that. I was like, whoa, okay, that's interesting. Um, the story just the overall story was just it was just great, and the pacing, right, Mom? The pacing was just it never really slowed down to the point where you got really tiring. It was just that pacing was bam, 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 and it flowed so well, you know. Um, and mentioning certain characters that was really cool. For example, Sitwell basically announced that certain characters are on Hydra's kill list. Bruce Banner, they want him taken out. And then they said a certain doctor that isn't peculiar, but another word for peculiar is in this universe. So it's like, oh, there you go. He's here. So it was really cool. Um, and one thing also me and Malcolm loved is the fact that they showcase Sam as not just he's just aerial support. He can fight, and you know he did his thing. I give Anthony Mackie all the credit in the world, you know, for playing Sam Wilson. You know, he he really shined in this movie. And I've been a fan of Anthony Mackie for a while. I've seen him in other movies, and I've always thought he was always a solid. He always gave a solid performance in his movies, and in this movie, I thought he just was great. I love the fact that Steve had like a little notepad that kept he would write down all things that he needs to catch up on, which is really funny. And Sam was telling me you need to listen to a guy called Marvin Gaye, and he's like, okay, let me write that down. And you see all the people that he's got to look at. I know it said Shakira up there. I was like, oh my god, but that was cool because he's still playing up that man out of time, you know, and the chemistry was there, guys. The chemistry between him and Natasha was there. I love the scene where they kissed, and she joked about it. And she's like, "So let me ask you, was that the first kiss since 1945 that you kissed somebody?" And he's like, "I thought that was so funny." And it was like, yeah. And of course, the legend himself, Robert Redford. You always got to show respect to Mr. Robert Redford. It was great as his performance. I had nothing to really complain about too much. Um, the costumes still look great. It was good to see. I'm forgetting the actress name who played Peggy. Uh, reprise her role, and that scene between her and Steve, older Peggy and Steve was really touching. It was like, oh, it's like, look at that. That's good stuff right there. If you have a heart, you can understand it. Um, and Uh, let's see what else. I still don't want to spoil too much, guys, and I'm checking my time, so uh, don't want to spoil too much, even if anybody hasn't seen it yet. It really, the one thing I've been hearing a lot of people saying this movie really now invested me more in Agents of Shield now, and if that's the case, that's good. For me, it's not because I've always been invested into the show. I was like, even though some people said the show is getting bleak and it started to pick up. And after this, yeah, it picked up even more. Uh, Steve really still carrying that notion of, especially at the end, him fighting Bucky, was just like, he's not going to kill him. This is my friend. And that played up very much straight from the comics. It was like, yeah, he didn't want to, he doesn't want to kill him. He doesn't want to, he's trying to make him remember you. And I love it when he was like, "Your name is James Buchanan Barnes," and I was just like, "Yeah." And you see Bucky fighting it. He's not he remembers certain things of it, but he's just like it's almost like his programming is so strong. It's fighting it, but it was really well done, and it was just an all around fantastic movie. The best Marvel Cinematic movie from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So now it's how the other cinematic gonna. It's almost now this is the where you go from there, and we're gonna see that. Especially we're not talking about Guardians of the Galaxy because that's outer space. We're talking about that's still on Earth, and let's see where that goes. Now, as for the last thing I want to end off on is the end scene. As we all know, Marvel Cinematic they always have something to get our mouths watering for what's to come, and we got to see two certain twins in this, as well as another certain character by the name of Baron von Strucker. And the actor who plays him, I've seen him before. Don't know him by name, but I've seen him in certain other movies, and I was okay with it. But there's a theory that me and my friend Vernus have is that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they may replace the twins for the children of Strucker because Baron von Strucker has kids, and and so that's what it could be. Just a theory, but great stuff. I loved it. Um, just all around fun. Uh, I know a friend of mine saw it 3 times already. My friend Ben, he saw it 3 times already, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Great adaptation. Ed Brubaker, you should be very proud. And